Oh,
Yes,
shit.
sir.
Ah,
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
oh my God, you're on fire.
Well, see, I forgot that I put a filter in that joint.
How did it taste?
Cardboardy. Very cardboardy.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this? Like, oh, yeah, I put the filter in so that I didn't have to use the clip and then I could. I was like, this tastes bad. Bad wrong. Wonder why. Like, oh, cardboard's on fire. Which means I also need to get high now, as I was counting on that. But it's neither
Well,
here nor there.
I am good to go.
All right.
Grab a six or a cold ones and whatever else trips your trigger. We're about to embark on a Dynasty road trip. That's right, we'll tool around the back roads of fantasy football land, taking in the sights of 10 and 12 man Dynasty leagues. But leave your keys at home, because here's your drivers, Ron and Jonah.
That's right. We are primed up. Should I take that again? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Take two. Future Ron. Edit that out. We are primed. Oh, Jesus Christ. I left the cooler on. This is. You know what? This is how. All right. You know what? I'm just going to get a fucking beer while I'm over here. This is not going well. All right. Hang on. I'm fucking. Jesus Christ. I have to do drugs about this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Well, here we go. I'd say now we're primed and ready to roll.
I'm primed and ready to go.
It's free agency time. So I'm too excited. I've been refreshing my Twitter so much looking at these free agency signings. Just refresh. And I have to maybe bring myself down a little bit. So,
well, no, I'm fully aroused as you are. Last Sunday we tried to kick off a podcast that we hadn't done in a while, and it kind of felt like dry humping.
Yeah, but you can see we're so much better this time.
Well, that's because we got stuff to get excited about. I mean, like, I was like, hey, here's a whole bunch of things that might happen, but they're barely worth talking about because they probably won't happen.
Right.
On that note, like, it feels like this happens every year at this time where you're like, well, they're for surely going to go after this position. The Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
Like, we're like, what's the best spot for a running back? Well, what's the one team that didn't address the running back spot?
Yeah.
The Cowboys. So it's just like, it is always that way in the NFL where, like, the obvious thing rarely happens.
No, because the one thing Jerry Jones is consistently known for is that he will pay and overpay to get a guy. And then this time, they've become that fucking meme of the dude with the stick poking at the brain. Come on, do something.
Well, I didn't think we'd start with the Cowboys take today, but do you mind if I make this a sizzling hot take?
Oh, shit. Yeah, I have to remember where I put that on the board. All right, hang on. Sizzling hot takes. You're good.
Here's where I'm at with the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Jerry Jones came out and said, we're all in this year. Like, not that he hasn't said this before, but all in. So far, looking at that, all in for him, that could mean several different things. All in certainly didn't mean we're all in on free agency. Right?
No.
Like, that's there. So far, all in certainly didn't look like we're going to make a whole bunch of trades.
No.
So what's interesting is there's a few big contracts hanging out there for the Cowboys. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
I think Micah Parsons did they re-sign him? Anyways, there's some big offensive names, CeeDee Lamb and Prescott. They haven't started to restructure their contracts. They haven't done any work with Dak. They haven't done any work with CeeDee Lamb. I think the Cowboys might be all in, as though if we don't win it all, we're blowing this up. I think you could see Dak and potentially CeeDee Lamb get traded away next year, as popular as those guys are. If the Cowboys don't do a deep playoff run this year, I think this is the last time we see Dak and CeeDee Lamb on the field together is this season. That's my prediction.
That actually would track with what they've done. because from what I'm seeing, not only has there been a lack of free agency signings, but they have also lost guys. So I believe they're at like a net negative right now, which is an odd way to go all in. Unless we're going all in on fiscal responsibility and solid contracts for the future, which I'd like to see that from Jerry.
If you didn't plan on paying Dak Prescott, you'd have to like do something weird like trade for Trey Lance in the middle of last year and keep him on a small deal this year.
It's interesting.
So, just throwing that out there that the 7th overall pick in the draft, was Trey Lance 7th or 3rd?
I want to say 3.
3rd overall pick in the draft that didn't pan out in San Francisco is sitting behind Dak Prescott, and he would cost you about $50 million less a year.
Right.
So that's my hot take. This is the last time that the last season for Dak Prescott in Dallas.
I like it.
We're going to get into each spot, but any surprises for you so far?
Well, I was just going to ask you, how are we going to approach this road trip? You said we're going to go by teams at need. Is that how we're doing it?
We're going to go by teams on what they've signed.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk. And then we're going to talk about what gaps are still there. Right.
Okay.
Like, so we'll take a team. We'll say, hey, they signed this wide receiver, but they didn't sign a running back. So at this point right now, you can kind of start to shake it out that who's going to maybe have to fill a spot in the draft because, man, it's thin out there at running back already, which is shocking. Usually we're in the opposite. The quarterback situation is crazy. Right before, I checked updates right before we got on just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And
right.
Sam Howell just got traded to the Seahawks.
Oh, really? I did not see that.
I mean, like literally about an hour ago. And then I also saw that who went to the Cardinals today? That was a trade. Desmond Ridder. So I mean, like we're 1 day past free agency and we're trading away backup quarterbacks at this point. Like, I've never seen rosters so full at this point. So the glaring needs are glaring.
Yeah, and with some of these trades and signings, you've started to see these first-round mocks, which I don't put a lot of stock in, but it's really all you have to go off of. You're seeing a lot of those mocks change around a lot. Pittsburgh, they had slotted with a lot of cornerbacks, and now you're seeing them shift to wide receiver. So I guess not to be too much of a homer, but my takeaway this year, which specifically applies to the Steelers, but also one of the teams you just mentioned, the Falcons, when you get kind of a new regime, sometimes that's coaching. In Pittsburgh, this is the general manager position. The tendencies go out the window. Like, I know how the Steelers conduct business, what they generally do, what they go after, what they're willing to pay. I can't say I know that now. I'd like to think they're going to be tried and true with what they've always done, but it's a new guy in the job. This is year 2. We're seeing a lot of cuts, a lot of house cleaning. I'm excited. I mean, maybe Pittsburgh does things in the offseason now besides signing, some safety that isn't on a lot of radars, which we also did. So
yes. Well, the safety, we don't really cover defense at all, but the safety position in this free agency offseason is like, it's as crazy as it's ever been. I mean, like, did Justin Simmons from Denver sign anywhere yet even? I don't think so. Like, I mean, he's 30 years old, but he was eight times in the Pro Bowl. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, the safety position became the running back position of the NFL this year.
Right.
Like, we'll just cut them all because we'll sign one for cheaper.
Right. We'll just draft one, and in most schemes, you can just plug in a younger safety, and depending.
Before we go on this road trip, let's talk about. I think what's nice about you and I doing this podcast is that we kind of have different approaches to fantasy football as far as trading, and time of year that we do things. So for you right now in a Dynasty league, are you doing anything?
I want to. I very badly want to. I've got a little bit of.
You've got the trade fever.
Maybe that's the best way to put it. Yeah. I got the trade fever. Well, I really just want to make a move at all.
Yeah.
Most things are locked. frankly, we've said it before, and I will keep harping on it. This is the worst time of the year to do anything.
Yeah.
Just get your roster down to passable right now. I mean, if you're going to make a trade, as we've said before, don't try to get all cute and get a guy that's just landed in a position and he's going to get all the touches. You've still got to get like a guaranteed stud if you're going to trade right now. 100%. Like a dude like a McCaffrey who is guaranteed to be the guy barring injury. Otherwise, those guys that just landed in a spot, team drafts their position and there's a redundancy. They just lost all that value. Yeah. It's not worth a gamble 9 times out of 10.
100%. You nailed it there on there's very few sure things right now. Because the same thing with Dallas, because we thought Dallas 100% would sign a free agent running back. It's a no-brainer. Right.
For sure.
So it's going to go the other way too, where a team for surely won't draft a running back. We'll draft a running back in the first round. Right.
Right.
I think of that time that the Seahawks drafted Rashad Penny. You're like, what? What just happened? Right? Like, yeah.
You got to get depth and replacement, man. And in a position like the running back, if you can block, maybe you can get on the field earlier than later.
I guess I'll stay with Seattle. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. Right there. Like I saw
and Walker was drafted almost where they still had Penny, wasn't he? Right. So it was still, it's like.
And I think Walker was a buy low candidate the year before that. So I saw 2 people trade for him and be like, yeah, I got my sure thing. And then you're like, no.
Right. If you can get one that cheap and under your team control for 4 years, you'd be dumb not to just plug in the next one and keep them there. I mean.
Yep. I agree. I'm in currently 3 Dynasty leagues right now.
Okay.
One of those 3 actually has opened up the waiver wire already.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I'm going to have you guess which league opened up the waiver wire.
Would this be the off the wagon flea flicker league?
No. Yes, absolutely. March 5th, we opened up the waivers.
See, and now there is when a commissioner gets that transaction fever.
Yeah. Commissioner
you know what,
fever.
guys? Let's just.
You know what?
Let's just. Can I just get let's just give me a little hit of free agency, man. I'll pay you on Wednesday if you just let me just open up the wires. Like we can bid. It's not just Wild West. Just let me have a hit, just a taste.
And I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. However, what's great is one commissioner spent 66 bob.
Wow.
On 2 quarterbacks.
Okay.
And then,
well, if Mason Rudolph's out there, you gotta. Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
It was. Okay, sorry. They spent 62 bob on Desmond Ridder and Kenny Pickett.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the only action I've seen, and then the only other idiot who made any moves was myself. Because I couldn't help it. I picked up 2. I had 3 defenses because I was in the championship and was juggling them. So I actually picked up Emmanuel Wilson from Green Bay, who's the number 2 back with Jones and Dillon gone.
Okay. See, now that's a perfect example of a kind of guy that you pick up this time of year if they're open. Somebody that right now does have that value. Mm-hmm. Perfect guy you don't trade for.
Right.
Because somebody's going to pick him up and try to shop him to you. No, they'll wind up drafting a running back. They might even sign one. He could wind up 4th on the depth chart by the time spring rolls around. Definitely take a gamble on the wire. Just don't pay for him. That's a prime example.
100%. So, anyways, that's the only action I've had. I have been looking for trades in the nasty. I talked about this last time. I have aging running backs, but I'm really thrilled on where my aging running backs ended up. So now I'm in actually a harder place than I was. I thought, okay, well, but we'll go over all of them because they all did signings. I don't want to get in too far into the weeds with those guys, but right. I keep on looking and saying, all right, would I give this guy up for a second? No. Like, would I give him up for a first? I probably won't get a first. So right now, even though I want to do trades at this point, and we've talked about this before, the highest value is the pick right now because people are excited.
Yes.
This
is, if you're going to trade picks, now until your draft begins is when pick value is optimized. So if you're inclined to move picks, clearly the closer to the draft you get, the more valuable they are. Just factor that in when you do deals. And if especially, and there's always at least one. There's always one guy in the league who gets super fucking amped up for picks.
Yep. For sure.
Find him, and you maximize even more.
Yeah, and so if you go to you go into this year, and I know this, we haven't really dove into any rookies yet, and we've talked about how pointless that is.
Right.
But there's always, before you get anywhere, there's always these names that are like, well, that guy's clear cut. And from what I've seen right now, I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. If he's not the number one,
he's your consensus one.
Yeah, in most dynasties, then that means the only way I say that isn't the number one is if the number one running back off the board ends up in Dallas. That's the only thing I could see would be a coin flip. But Marvin Harrison Jr. is going number one.
Yeah. Of course.
So what I'm saying too with this is whatever veteran I think I should get a number one for, the guy that I'm making the offer to is like, well, what if Marvin Harrison Jr. slips to 6?
Right.
I can't give up that guy for Marvin Harrison Jr. Right. So everyone's got in their head that the guy they want that's probably going to go in the top 2 might slide to them. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, anyways, values there. Well, and this would surprise you as well, but I have no first round picks in any of my leagues.
This does not surprise me.
I am the other way. I'm a firm believer of using my early picks to buy sure things. So I have always, well, no, I would say in the last 3 or 4 years, I've switched my tactic to use, instead of trying to always go young and get picks to go young, I go the other way now and I give up picks to get proven bets. And quite frankly, I have had much more success in the last 3 years than I did in the previous 5 or 6 years before that.
Yeah, because I mean, it sounds dumb to say it out loud, but there's a guy you've seen do it.
Right.
He's proven it. Yeah, it does make way more sense, like I said, to just say it out loud that, proven quantity is obviously way better than something you're gambling on. But I, of course, have the GM hubris where that pick's worth more to me because I'll do something amazing with it. Like, it's not worth as much if I trade it to you. So
right. You're dumb.
I don't want to give up my picks because when I make them, they're awesome because I'm great.
Right.
So
no, for sure. Just like in the NFL, it's just the stupid GMs that blow it on bad picks.
Right.
Yeah, they should have seen that coming.
They should just be awesome like me and just.
Yeah, they should. They should. You know a lot more than them.
Why don't you get it right next time? How about that? You know those wrong ones you did? Stop doing that.
Yeah. Like, you know who didn't draft Mitch Trubisky in the NFL draft? Me.
Thank you.
I didn't do that. Did you make that mistake?
To be fair, he does love kissing titties.
That's true. Well, on that note, you want to hop in the car?
Yeah, I think I'm just about cooked enough and probably finish this beer off.
Sounds good. All right. Well, let's meet up at the car. I'll see you in just a sec.
Hit the bathroom, get one for the road?
Absolutely.
All right.
It's time to settle up at the bar and the bathroom. Top off that tank and grab one for the road, because we're about to take you around the league on a Dynasty road trip.
Yeehaw!
This is kind of one of my favorite. I think the 3 days of NFL free agency and the first 2 days of the draft and then the following dynasty draft, I think those are my favorite days of fantasy football. I really do.
Yeah, and I just love, and it's funny, we actually had this conversation today with somebody that was giving me grief about, they said they didn't like how the NFL kept dominating, and I'm like, this is by design. this is 20 years of them trying to dominate the calendar all year round. And other than May and June, they've done it. I mean, March.
But Ron, they shortened up the pitching time in baseball games.
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot. The road trip is sponsored. Yeah, we've got a new sponsor. It's from Real Fantasy Heroes. They will be chiming in from time to time. Let's see who they have for us this week.
The Dynasty Road Trip Podcast proudly salutes Real Fantasy Heroes. Today we salute you, Team Apparel Maker. There's a fine line between fan and fanatic, and you blatantly disregard that line, all in the name of team pride. Screen printing a t-shirt, that's for amateurs. You're a professional. You embroider. A polo, a hat, a custom engraved mug. That's $170 worth of custom apparel for a league with a $30 entry fee.
That seems a bit excessive.
So crack a cold one from Third Generation Brewing, Team Apparel Maker, because you may have the best represented fictional team ever.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that, indeed.
So how are you going to take us around the league exactly? How's this road trip working?
Well, we are going to go. We are going to go by divisions.
Okay.
We're going to talk about what they've added, and then what holes they kind of still have left. If they're, I'm not going to talk about there's a possible third wide receiver and a tight end too, and a backup running back. I'm going to talk like this team clearly doesn't have a quarterback. This team clearly has to get a running back, or this team clearly has no number one wide receiver or tight end. I'm not going to dive into like, ooh, we'll start here. We're going to start in the AFC East. The Buffalo Bills 7th wide receiver slot, not yet locked up. Juicy.
Yeah. All right, I'm with you. Let's go high speed, low drag. And okay. I'm gonna burn one if you don't mind.
No, I'm driving.
I'm still too excited. I gotta calm down a little bit.
I know. Well, hopefully it doesn't get too late at night and the old moon chub comes out.
Hey, as long as you're driving, I'm good.
Well, we're gonna go to Buffalo. Really, there's only one thing of note in Buffalo. They actually signed a wide receiver that is maybe not super exciting, but with Gabe Davis leaving, they signed Mac Hollins. So
okay, yeah, and he's another tall guy. Was he like 6'4"?
Yeah, and Mac Hollins has had I think 2 different spots in his career where for about 3 games you can ride his numbers. So outside of that, I mean, really, you got Josh Allen, you've got Diggs, you've got Kincaid's they've already invested in him. You've got Cook at running back. So really, for me, the Bills, I mean, there's still a spot to draft a wide receiver, but they have no huge needs right now.
Yeah, it's that perennial battle for the second receiver in that offense who's going to get something, and he never, ever materializes.
I wouldn't even give like Buffalo Bills a grade in free agency for dynasty purposes. There's just nothing there that's really going to affect us.
Right.
And really the same goes for the Dolphins. They re-signed Salvan Ahmed, which means he's got another 5 carries in the season coming.
Good for him.
They signed Jonnu Smith at tight end, but
missed that.
They only paid him $5 million a year, max, and this is not an offense that passes the ball to the tight end.
Right?
Yeah. I would say Jonnu Smith is a veteran Smythe. I mean, like, you're not going to get anything.
He must be able to block for as many jobs as he keeps getting, because, like you said, most offenses don't use a tight end. So it's
yeah. And he had better receiving stats than Kyle Pitts last year.
I know. It's infuriating.
Yeah. Well, that's Arthur Smith. So, hot take.
Oh, shit.
Sizzling hot takes.
Pat Fryermuth could have a hell of a season with Arthur Smith.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know. Wasn't the Pitts deal, was that about blocking? Or did he just not use Pitts ever?
Yeah, Pitts is a wide receiver.
Right, and so is Fryermuth. He does not block. So I'm looking for like but our number 2 is also a mountain of a man who blocks.
Yeah.
But
Pitts was not used in the red zone at all, and I think Fryermuth's frame probably puts him as more of a red zone target.
Right.
Let's move on to the Patriots. Now, here's something really weird, okay? I want you to think about this.
Okay.
They signed Antonio Gibson. Okay.
Yes.
How do you feel about Antonio Gibson in New England?
Do you know offhand what they paid him? Not really relevant.
5.3 guaranteed.
Okay.
So he's making a little bit over $4 a year for a 3-year deal.
I mean, I know it's standard in the NFL now, multiple backs, but that seemed like one of their positions where there wasn't a need. So for them to address it, I don't know if they thought that's value or what, but again, this is one of those situations I mentioned earlier, new regime, things are going to be different. How will the offense work? Nobody knows. Throwing darts.
Here's a question. In my entire time being, a fantasy football fan, I've never looked at a signing of a running back in New England and been like, well, that could be interesting.
Right.
So anyways, in the past, if that's Belichick still there, I say that's means nothing to me. But
I think you got to go back to like Corey Dillon since that was a thing.
Right. They re-signed Kendrick Bourne, don't really care. Jalen Reagor, don't care. Hunter Henry, he was there. Austin Hooper. Is Zappy the quarterback, or are they taking?
I think they're in a rebuild mode.
Yeah,
got to go rookie.
I do have a dark horse for New England, by the way, but they signed Jacoby Brissett. That kind of gets rid of my dark horse sort of theory. All right.
Oddly quiet at wide receiver in a market that's still, I mean, so maybe that's a draft deal.
When we are through these teams, we're going to look at the players that haven't been signed yet, and it'll be kind of surprising with a team like the Patriots who really have nothing too exciting at wide receiver. They cut Devontae Parker. There's going to be there's a guy out there that I'm surprised is not a Patriot already today. I'll go to the Jets. Like, no changes, and I think that's probably a smart move for them. They picked up Tyrod Taylor to back up Aaron Jones. That's
not his name.
No. What's his name?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah. What do we call him?
A dumb bastard. I don't know. I got nothing.
Dumb bastard. So they have the same wide receiver core, which I think is actually pretty solid. They have good running backs.
They were built last year and treated like a heavy favorite until they lost their quarterback, which they didn't have a solid backup for. So it seems like they fixed the one area. So yeah, I'm with you.
They're just better.
Yeah. No need to.
Okay. We're going to go to the AFC North. We're going to move to the Ravens.
All right. Well, obviously there. I mean, fuck.
Boner alert. Boner alert. I mean, like, seriously, for fantasy football, can you think of a better place and a better, like, just like Derrick Henry is a Raven. He should have been a Raven forever. Like, he just feels like a Raven. It's fantastic. I own him in one league. I'm super excited about the move. I could not besides Dallas, I couldn't see a better situation for Derrick Henry to land in.
Yeah, I like Dallas. What you sold me on that, I thought it was a no-brainer. And no, that's interesting.
Nothing else changes there. You still have your top guys. Odell Beckham Jr. is gone, but we've never really loved wide receivers out of Baltimore anyways.
No, that's been long-standing.
I mean, Zay Flowers is kind of exciting, but at one point, so is Marquise Brown. I need to see it consistently before I'm going to be in on any of that. So, Isaiah Likely's value was high last year.
That's what I was going to mention. He's one of those weird ones. Like, if you're deep enough, you have to stash him. But if you're, he'd be a guy on the bubble if you were stacked at tight end. But
you just can't really carry a number 2 tight end.
Not that doesn't play. No.
Yeah.
You'd have to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Very few teams are deep enough to be carrying tight end number 2s.
If you're going to be forced into a spot started up position, that's probably the one to pick. So if you're going to be shallow, I mean, maybe, of course, you're talking to a guy with a tight end fetish, so take that for what it's worth.
Yep.
Moving on.
Well, we're going to go to the Bengals. I really regret. So late in the season in the league, I had Zach Moss on a roster, and I needed room, and I cut him because it seemed irrelevant. But now Zach Moss is the starting running back in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I will say this too. We talked about. I don't believe that coming out of the draft, Zach Moss is the number 1 clear-cut running back in Cincinnati.
Agreed.
A 2-year, $4.5 million contract, or a 2-year, $8 million contract, with more than half it loaded into year 1, makes me think like Zach Moss is probably going to be the number 2 running back post-draft, and it's probably who's the guy that's been there forever that they just re-signed again for a year? What the heck's his name?
They re-sign Evans?
Yes. Yeah.
Is that really? Okay.
Oh, no, not Evans. No, it's Williams. I got to look now.
Wow, we are so out of practice. I should know every running back in Cincinnati. What's wrong with
we shouldn't know. Actually, we shouldn't, because he's always looked like he was going to be a factor, but he hasn't. Well, that was a dumb search. Yeah, let's look at this.
Dumb search.
Trayvon Williams. It is Trayvon Williams. Okay. So, they have Chase Brown, who was a rookie last year that really looked good. And they traded for Zach Moss, and they signed Trayvon Williams for a really cheap 1-year deal. My guess is that Trayvon Williams ends up being the odd man out. A rookie takes his spot and competes with Moss. Right. But sleeper, Chase Brown. He looked good last year. Nothing says that Chase Brown isn't the primary and Moss the complementary back. T. Higgins, that could get ugly.
Oh, yeah.
They tagged him. He wants to trade. Ultimately, he'll probably sign and play. Probably miss a little bit of training camp. You excited about Mike Gesicki or Drew Sample?
That's what I was going to ask you, because this is exactly what happened to me last year with Irv Smith. Oh, they're a tight end deficient team. Now they get a guy. They can plug him in. He'll produce. And I just don't know.
The Bengals, to me, are turning into the Seahawks at tight end, where you got Noah Fant, Will Disley, and Kobe Parkinson. And if you smash them all together, you'd have a relevant fantasy tight end.
Right.
But there's no rhyme or reason or way to predict how they're going to use them game to game.
Yeah, that was like if you could just start Seattle tight end, you'd be all right from week to week. But yeah,
I feel that's what Cincinnati is. I would be happier owning Isaiah Likely than Mike Gesicki.
Hot take. All right.
Well, let's move on to the Browns. Jerry Jeudy got traded to the Browns, so that's really what they've done. Outside of that, they haven't done anything, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't make a move at running back, because there's no way that Nick Chubb is healthy before midseason at the best next year. I mean, that was a brutal injury he suffered. Yeah. Jerome Ford. Oh, they signed Naeem Williams.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely a team that could be looking at a running back, especially thinking Chubb's 28 and probably won't ever return to his full former self. That is a great team to look for running back.
And Himes is more of a third down guy, so you're
Mm-hmm.
really looking for early down. If you think Ford can be that guy, I dealt him in the one dynasty. I snagged him because I don't care.
I think Jerry Jeudy, my prediction is he turns out to just be an average NFL wide receiver for a while.
Well, to be there too in an offense that was fairly solid, even led by Flacco. I mean,
my question
solid move.
My question is he a 2? Like, does Jerry Jeudy, does he actually beat out the other wide receivers to be a 2?
Considering I can't name any of them, probably.
Yeah. Certainly got him for cheap.
Agreed.
Your Steelers.
And that was the whole point. I was trying to get fucking wrecked before we got here, and I think I finally did it. I am hammered, so we're going to... All right. What's going on in Pittsburgh?
Well, Arthur Smith's going on in Pittsburgh, so I like that for your running backs. It's interesting watching how he tried to use Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota last year. Russell Wilson's 36 years old, so if he's really going to run Arthur Smith's offense, you're looking at Russell Wilson running with the ball. And I don't know. Do you feel better with Russell Wilson or Kenny Pickett running the ball?
I just feel better trotting Wilson out there because I didn't really want Pickett to see the field this early anyway. I was hoping he would sit, but Trubisky made that a necessity. But yeah, I like Wilson, but then losing Deontay, that's a huge blow to the offense. Yeah. Another team, prime candidate in a wide receiver deep draft to go that route. We've talked about the tight ends. Who fucking knows? Right. But you nailed it. Running backs, the big beneficiary of this whole throwdown. And
I agree.
Most people, I think, are throwing in the towel on Pickett. I, of course, a homer, am not. But there you have it. If you're inclined not to give up, I'd say go make your dirt cheap offers on Kenny.
Yeah. You know who I think Kenny Pickett's going to end up reminding me of as a Broncos fan is I think he's going to be your Paxton Lynch.
I see him more as Andy Dalton.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think if he doesn't get it put together in Pittsburgh, he's going to be one of those guys that goes around the league and just gets random starting jobs. I think he's... Yeah, we'll see.
Interesting. All right.
That was the draft day comp, I will add.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the AFC South.
All right.
The Texans, we kind of predicted this, that Dalton Schultz would probably stay there. He did.
Price, yeah.
We thought they would re-sign Singletary. Singletary signed with the Giants instead, and the Texans traded for a 27-year-old Joe Mixon, and they gave up a 7th-round pick. That's crazy.
Great deal.
So if you're a Joe Mixon owner, I think that's a lateral move.
Yeah, he's going to get touches.
So really, that offense looks the exact same, except swap out Singletary with Joe Mixon.
Which I'd consider an upgrade.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
The Colts. What happened?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I have to go to the gift that keeps on giving.
You've been Flacco.
Mother.
I mean,
yeah.
Unreal. I mean, Anthony Richardson will be back. Joe Flacco's backing him up, but
which is perfect because they are an identical style of player.
Right.
So you just execute the same offense.
Regardless. For sure.
Yeah. It doesn't plug and play.
No one wants to tackle Flacco.
Oh, yeah. He gets out there. He's mobile. He's... Anywho.
They also were one of the few teams that's been able to do this in the NFL is they actually took one of their star wide receiver, Michael Pittman, gave him a franchise tag, then turned around and successfully made a deal with him.
Which was supposed to be the point of the tag.
Right. So Pittman will come back. Be interesting to see how him and Anthony Richardson connect in year number 2, because he certainly looked much better with Minshew last year than he did Richardson.
Yeah, well, that stands to reason, given experience. But then, again, Richardson didn't get any more experience. And I watched his first parts of his first couple of games, and I was standing here in the basement screaming, "Stop doing that. You're going to get killed."
Yes.
And he didn't make it long. He was just sticking his head out there in the goal line, and I was like, this ain't college.
Yeah, I agree.
Stop that. But yeah,
so pretty much similar looking team.
They added a running back, right?
Nope.
No? Okay. Well, good. That's a great Rooney's.
Not that I can think of. They had Jonathan Taylor and they lost Zach Moss.
What about Jelani Woods? You throw in the towel on that?
Yeah, the tight end.
Yeah.
You must own him somewhere.
Oh, like almost everywhere. Yeah. He's 6'7". I mean,
he's 6'7", but Richardson. I mean, the way if Richardson's going to run at the ball, they're going to put in blocking tight ends. I got to look at this now because now you got me wondering if I forgot a signing.
Mister, I swear they added a backup to. Oh no! The fuck.
Well, you're doing great.
No, I'm really bringing the show down.
Yeah,
to,
I'm glad you're not driving.
No, I know. Just fucking pull me through. I got too hammered.
Yeah, right. They might go after Jonathan Taylor in the draft. Let's go on to Jacksonville.
Please. Never thought I'd ask for that, but
Mac Jones means nothing unless Lawrence gets hurt. It was a really weird move.
Weird. Especially because it was Shanahan in San Francisco that was in love with Mac Jones. So if he got moved, you'd figure they'd get the guy we wanted anyway.
They don't pay quarterbacks in San Francisco. And then they signed Gabe Davis, which is kind of interesting. I don't like. So they got Christian Kirk and they lost Kelvin Ridley. So I guess Gabe Davis just takes over for Kelvin Ridley, kind of.
Does he slot in as a starter though, or are you looking? At Kirk and who was
they gave him a deal that can go up to $50 million for 3 years.
Fucking insane.
Gabe Davis got $39 million for 3 years. They're going to use him.
I just the voice in my head screams, Kenny Galladay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't.
Yeah,
pass.
I'm not in.
Pass. Yep.
Let's go down to the Titans. Also signed a backup quarterback, Mason Rudolph. Doesn't really matter.
Yes, that's right. Mason Rudolph, new home in Tennessee. That's actually what I've been refreshing my Twitter about for the last day. But
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
He's got the love.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting move. They signed Tony Pollard.
Yes.
And you know who really reminds me of a young Tony Pollard?
No.
Tajay Spears.
Okay.
I like the Tony Pollard signing. I don't get coupling him with a guy who has the exact same skill set. Like I don't get that move in Tennessee. So they've got smaller, fast backs that can catch the ball. Usually you complement that with a more of a power runner.
Right. But if that's the main focus of your offense, I can see having two guys to plug and play, and then you just draft a thumper.
Yeah. Draft a thumper.
Fuck yeah. But that's another place that's in flux. We don't know what that offense is going to look like, how they're going to run it, if tight ends are involved at all, because that's all I'm worried about.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy to see what they just gave Kelvin Ridley.
Yeah. Like, why didn't you just fucking keep A.J. Brown? Yeah. God damn it.
So
fucking aminals.
What's interesting there is with Kelvin Ridley. I mean, clearly, they're like, we need Will Levis to have a veteran to throw the ball to develop him. So,
Like, they should just fucking kept AJ. But the whole point was they didn't want to give him that contract.
Right.
Which, if they have given him, be fucking set for a rebuild.
Well, new regime. They've spent. I mean, the 3-year, $24 million contract for Pollard. That's serious running back money right now too. So they're trying to get vets to surround Levis, is what it looks like.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know anything about the coaches they've signed. I have no inclination to how they're going to do it.
Yep. Let's move on to the AFC West.
Oh, premature Auga. God damn it. I'm fucking hammered.
Let's talk about all the exciting moves that the Denver Broncos have made in the offseason. Well, that's fine. But I'm moving on to the Chiefs because there's nothing to report with the Chiefs either. We'll move on to the Raiders. Gardner Minshew. He's their new quarterback.
They let Jacobs walk.
Jacobs walk, so there's a team that looks like they should be getting a running back in the draft, unless they've got Zamir White. But I think Gardner Minshew gives Devontae Adams a bump. Michael Pittman, kind of that route running, high volume target with Gardner Minshew, really makes me think that Devontae Adams will continue to be Devontae Adams with Gardner Minshew.
But do you know how much he throws to tight ends?
Minshew throws to tight ends a lot.
Well, there we go.
So much so that in my crazy 24-man dynasty,
That's insane.
that's insane. I just got Michael Mayer, rookie tight end from last year in that draft. I gave up Kyle Pitts, and I got Michael Mayer and 4 second-rounders and a first-rounder and 2 third-rounders.
Wow. But keep in mind, the second rounder is 25 to 48. So you're saying, okay.
Correct. So basically, I got Michael Mayer and a first-round pick, and maybe some dart throws.
Yeah.
But that's how high I am on. That's how high I am on Michael Mayer.
Really?
And that's how low I am on Kyle Pitts. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
I don't think no Cousins action.
No. I mean, Pitts will have an okay season. Like, he'll have a good season. I just think Michael Mayer could, in that offense, I'll take the guy who is. You got Adams and Michael Mayer are your only red zone threats, where look at what Atlanta's doing. They're clearly going to go like 5 wide with starting like Mooney and Drake London. And, I feel like the ball will be spread around a lot more in Atlanta than it will in Las Vegas.
Okay. Who's coaching there?
Las Vegas? They brought back Antonio Pierce.
Okay, so they're going to stick with the same offense then. All right.
The Chargers signed Gus Edwards. Eckler's gone, so that's somewhat intriguing, but he's also aging, so I would say that's another place where...
They gave him pretty good money, didn't they?
They did. Gus, no. He only got 6.5 for 2 years.
6, okay, so half of what it would have cost to keep Eckler?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. Yep.
Dumb.
Yep. They signed Will Disley and Hayden Hurst. Like, again, I don't... Whatever. Gerald Everett's gone, but tight end has not been consistent producer in the Chargers, and it's a totally new offense, new coaching staff, so I'm staying away.
Yeah, Herbert, for as much as he's... when they cut Mike Williams, too, didn't they?
They did just cut Mike Williams.
Fucking crazy.
Which is surprising. I should just check real quick now. I'm surprised that he wasn't picked up.
Yeah, is there something going on there? I mean, fuck.
Oh, the Packers just re-signed AJ Dillon.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Dallas has done nothing.
Well, that's a good tie into the guy why you wouldn't trade for Emmanuel Wilson for Green Bay
Right
now, because
He just
his
moved
value
one-
just now is gone.
One slot down the chart.
And I just don't hold on to third string running backs. Also, to follow up with the previous conversation, Curtis Samuel just signed with the Bills.
Oh.
He would definitely slot in probably over Mac Hollins as a third wide receiver in that offense. So
They still have Shakir, too?
Yeah.
So, NFC, you say, huh? Let's power through this bad boy.
Let's do it. NFC East, we've talked about the Cowboys. They did nothing, and that's
Right.
they needed to do something at running back. We actually talked, I think, on Sunday about maybe a buy low guy would be like an AJ Dillon.
Exactly.
He's now gone. So when we get to at the very end here, we're going to do a quick rundown of the top few free agents left, and we'll see who the top free agent running back is and say, is that guy good enough to be Dallas's quarterback or running back? He's definitely not good enough to be his quarterback.
No. Don't do that.
The Giants signed Drew Lock to back up Daniel Jones. That's gross.
Yeah.
Devin Singletary replaces Saquon Barkley.
Oof.
So, hey, Giants, you just got worse.
Yeah, they already had. He was their only real weapon on offense.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go down to the team that got him, Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow. Didn't see that coming.
No, they gave up DeAndre Swift and they replaced him with Saquon Barkley.
Wow.
That's an upgrade in my book.
It's an upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
Upgrading it. Well done.
Outside of that, everything seems to stay the same.
Right. So instead of a committee, you've got concentrated value at the Philly running back position.
Yep.
Good as it gets.
The Commanders moving on from Sam Howell to Seattle.
Yeah.
Means that they have Marcus Mariota as their starting quarterback today, which means they're clearly going rookie tight end. Which makes sense then why you sign an Austin Eckler and a Zach Ertz, because you're going to be doing check down passes and running for the majority of the year. I can't get excited for wide receivers in Washington with all the signs pointing to a rookie being the starter from day one next year.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Bears. We talked about it. They signed DeAndre Swift.
Wow.
Yeah, then they have the Justin Fields debacle. I have to touch on that for just 1 second.
That's weird.
Like, we are seeing today and yesterday, we're seeing teams trade for their backup quarterbacks, and Justin Fields still sits in Chicago.
Yeah.
So does that mean that the NFL really doesn't value Justin Fields at all? Does it mean that the Bears are holding out for too much? Or does it mean that there's any chance in hell that the Bears are trading away pick number 1?
Maybe a combination of all of those. They ask too much, thinking he's as good as gone. They don't get it done. Now they're stuck with him. I like the option of trading away pick number 1, but he's also approaching that window where they're going to have to pick up his option or not. They've got to make a decision. I think they thought he'd be gone, and now they're oops.
Yep. It's gonna be interesting. Someone's gonna get him for cheap on draft day.
Yeah.
We'll go to the Lions. They really made no changes offensively, so
Yeah.
which is fine because all their players performed great from a fantasy football perspective last year.
Yeah. Even up and down the bench when subs had to play. It was.
Yep. The Green Bay Packers, they signed Josh Jacobs, replacing Aaron Jones, bringing back A.J. Dillon. Really, I love that as a landing spot for Josh Jacobs. He's got a 4-year deal and is really, he's 1 year away from being the league's leading rusher.
Yeah.
And I have to admit it, the Packers are kind of an up-and-up team. They have a great young wide receiver core. Jordan Love took a step forward, and give me the starting running back, like 3-down back for a team that's going to continue to start to score more and more touchdowns. I'm all in on Josh Jacobs this year.
I love that receiving core, and the whole thing was weird to me. I didn't get don't trade Jones, just straight up cut him. And
yeah. I own Josh Jacobs in a dynasty, and I'm in Wisconsin. So I did look and be like, oh, is this the perfect sell high moment?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm going to propose some ridiculous trades to Packer fans is my plan.
Yeah.
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 Speaking of Packers,
how that goes. Yeah.
If I am able to move him this week, I'll let you know. Speaking of Packers, Aaron Jones goes over to the Minnesota Vikings, which can you get? I can't get more excited for the Vikings than to get rid of Kirk Cousins and bring in Sam Darnold. I mean, just phenomenal move. You want to lock up Justin Jefferson long term, and what's not going to make him want to stay more than Sam Darnold?
Right.
I mean, what a commitment. Stupid. All right. Yeah, how is Sam Darnold on a 1-year deal better for the Minnesota Vikings than Justin Fields? How is Justin Fields' value that low?
Or than
that
just
teams are giving
paying Cousins.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys fucking down. Oh, that's what, 180? Holy shit, that's what he got?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, never mind. All right,
Yeah.
Fair play, Minnesota.
Yeah.
How'd they go? Oh, you couldn't sign Mason Rudolph. I mean, shit.
Let's go to Atlanta. They signed Kirk Cousins for a 4-year, $180 million. $100 million guaranteed. But I was talking about with Kyle Pitts earlier. They signed 4 wide receivers in free agents. 2 of them, traded for 1 and signed 3, but Darnell Mooney and Rondell Moore are solid wide receivers.
Little tiny fast guys.
Yeah, along with Ray McLeod, Kadarius Hodge, and Drake London and Kyle Pitts. We're putting Kirk Cousins in there. You're already passing to Bijan Robinson a whole bunch. This is going to be a very spread it out, air it out offense, like the exact opposite of what they were last year.
Yeah.
Exact opposite.
And I was going to say, short of Kansas City, the best landing spot for Mooney, but I honestly feel like right now the potential on him as far as trade value might be higher in Atlanta. It seems like he fits better.
Mm-hmm. The one guy that I tell you to get rid of, just straight cut him, is probably Tyler Jr. That's over. Let's go to the Panthers. No free agent signings, but they did trade for Deontay Johnson. I can't think of a worse landing spot for a team that has an established quarterback than Carolina right now.
No. Kansas City was apparently in on Johnson, but Pittsburgh didn't even want to move him in the AFC is the report.
Yep. Deontay Jackson is a decent get in that deal, so.
We needed cornerback, and like I said, now that opens up the draft board. So
yep.
I think wide receiver is easier to replace than a really good corner.
I might like Deontay Johnson's. This is depressing for any Deontay Johnson owner to see this. So, you might be able to snag him for about nothing right now. For a person who's like, dang it. So I might try to go do that. And
if he gets that high volume that he had with Roethlisberger, he could still be valuable. I like him the
Saints did nothing, which I don't think is good for them.
They let Winston go, so that's something.
And Michael Thomas.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
But they're the same boring offense next year.
Good for them.
Tampa just re-signed everyone.
Again, good moves.
Yeah, Baker, Mike
Love
Evans
it all.
got re-signed. Godwin's back. Cade Otton's back. And Rashad White's back. So it's going to be basically the same offensive team.
Love it.
NFC West, nothing of note at starting. Said Desmond Ridder now backs up Murray, and DJ Dallas got signed. He probably becomes the number 2 back behind Jonathan Connor. But we've seen DJ Dallas be a starter, and he's a backup.
Mm-hmm.
The Rams, they did nothing of note. They re-signed DeMarcus Robinson, who I just can't believe will have any kind of run like he did last year, this year. And Colby Parkinson steps in, but I believe they still have, what the hell's his name? The guy.
Yeah, the big one.
The tight end guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, drafted him in the... Yeah, I know.
Tyler Higbee.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm fucking hammered.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
Parkinson's like 6'7", man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
give me
That's
some of
impressive.
that. Fuck yeah.
6'7" and shaky.
You can't
Well
teach
done,
that.
Parkinson.
Oh, wait.
Oh, I'm-
my.
Oh, that is.
I
I'm
can't.
sorry.
Oh, but
I'm sorry.
Just.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a shaky sign.
Oh.
All right. Sorry. It's terrible. I feel worse than anyone listening. The Niners did nothing, and that's fine. They made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Seahawks just traded for Sam Howell today. And really, the way Geno Smith looked last year with a new coach out there, you could see Sam Howell eventually be the starting quarterback in Seattle this year. Like what? The new coach can't be loyal to Geno Smith.
Right. Yeah, if you can get a guy like that cheap, and why not take gamble? What's it going? Is it year 3 on him, or is it year 2?
I think it's year 3. I think he got hurt in year 1, didn't he? Like it hurt preseason or something. He looks good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've made it through all the teams. The last thing I want to do is just kind of look at the top remaining free agents and kind of play a game now that we've gone through all the teams. Where do we like them the most? You up for that game?
I'm up for that game. I don't have a sound effect, so we'll just say, where do you like them the most?
All right. Well, it's going to be wide receiver heavy. Mike Williams is now a 29-year-old free agent coming off a torn ACL. Where do you like him?
The Chargers?
Yeah, that's true. But he'd have to compete with the other bust, Quentin Johnson.
Yeah, are they? Well, who knows? That's what, year 2 on him. He's another big bastard. I guess Williams at 29.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably due to pay him. Yeah, they're probably another candidate to go heavy in the draft. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Is he a guy that you would be a starter on a team? I would have actually said I liked Mike Williams to replace Gabe Davis, but Curtis Samuel's a different direction.
Yeah, that's, okay. I like that.
I
mean, the Giants, prime candidate to come in and overpay.
That's a good call.
I mean,
the Giants could use some wide receiver talent.
Galladay.
Yeah, that's true. How about Marquise Brown?
Kansas City.
Yeah, we talked about that on Sunday. I also am just kind of surprised that he's not just back in Arizona.
Right.
Honestly, they just trade away Rondell Moore too. So
yeah. Well, generally the answer to every wide receiver is Kansas City, but the Williams didn't even seem like he topped out there. But
No, he's
Brown, I could see that.
Yep.
Maybe he's their eventual Tyreek Hill replacement. I don't know. Ain't a whole lot out there, huh?
Yeah. How about Ryan Tannehill end up anywhere?
Oh, for sure. Probably post-draft, once some of these teams whiff or these trades go through and a team like Chicago does get Fields moved and needs a vet, or Minnesota does something. Like, they're not banking on Dobbs, are they? It's not what's happening here, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Or the fucking with Darnold. Is that what they signed?
Yeah.
The Lego fireman. He looks like a Lego fireman.
That's true. Yeah, they might have to do that. Some team's going to have to do it. I will also say, too, I haven't talked about, but my Broncos are going into this season with Jordan Stidham as their only quarterback.
See, another prime candidate like that. Where quarterback room's still shaking out, man.
Yep. We got KJ Osborne at wide receiver. I don't know where. I mean, wherever he ends up, it's a 3, and it's not on a team that. Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, even if he goes to Kansas City, I'm probably not taking him unless I'm desperate.
Odell Beckham.
Same. I'm not taking him. I'm not desperate enough.
Here's a guy that I'm gonna be honest. When I went through the league and tried to figure out a guy that I wanted to buy super low right now, it was this guy right here, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, that's worth taking a shot on.
He tore his Achilles, so you're taking. I mean, like, he's 25 years old, and when he has been on the field, his yards per carry are absolutely phenomenal. So, but he, like I would say, like Dallas would be a great fit, except Dallas doesn't have time for this guy to heal.
Right.
So you're talking about a team that's got to take him as a backup with possible upside, and I'm not really interested in injured backup 25-year-old running back.
Right.
Tyler Boyd falls into the Osborne category for me.
Yeah, best case situation. I'm still not interested. No.
Wow,
is that what's left?
Jimmy Garoppolo's still out there. He's only 32. I thought he signed. I don't think he's...
I thought I read he re-signed with Vegas.
I don't think so. He got suspended.
God, I'm pretty fucking high.
Yeah, you're doing really good, though. But I like the fact-checking.
Yeah. Well, if any of the facts turned out to be right, I don't know. Oh, they release. No. Okay.
They let him go.
That was the opposite of the thing I said.
Yeah.
What it was.
That's what they ended up doing, not what you said.
Yeah, good job. Fuck.
I guess we got Michael Thomas still out there. So really,
nope.
Marquise Brown, probably the only name that I'm. Mike Williams in a spot that surprises me, and then Marquise
Brown and KC, I've got interest in.
So we're going to come back in here. All right, last thing before we pull this car over, we're going to see if there's any running backs still out there that would be exciting if they ended up in Dallas. We're just looking at Dallas because there's no better spot there, right?
Agreed. So, that's the Kansas City equivalent for the running back position. Yes.
Right. Okay, Alexander Madison.
Nope.
Return of Zeke?
That would probably be top end.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
I'd buy some Clyde there, maybe. Like more Foreman?
Yeah, I know, Foreman. It's always overproduced.
Yeah.
Always overproduces where he ends up.
I mean, again, him with Clyde is more of a waiver claim than a trade thing. But yeah, agreed.
Anyone else you see on this list?
Dobbins, like you said, not ready. Latavius is 104. McKinnon, possibly, just because he's been deceptively productive. Hunt, still 28. Again, all guys I would maybe put a waiver claim on. Would not pay you for any of them.
Are we saying that the best player on the market for the Cowboys is Zeke
Elliott? Yes.
That's crazy.
Saying. It is.
That's crazy. Wow. Okay. Well, let's end on that note, because if we're correct and we come back next week, what do we? I'm going to give you and me 3.7 points.
Okay.
Yeah. Then we can add those up and
I'll
turn
start
them in
a
for an
board.
eraser. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll earn prizes.
Yep.
I like that. That's gonna be a new bit. We're gonna say things for points.
How about 112 points? We get an eraser. Now we'll think of better gifts
Better
than
be
erasers.
shaped like something. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a penis.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
You're listening to the Half-Assed Podcast Network. Did you know that?